The sound you hear is game show music. This is the start of Octoberpod. It's time to play Better Know A Giallo. The podcast quiz show that tests your knowledge of one of horror's most niche subgenres, the giallo. I'm your host, Edward October, and the question I'm sure you are all asking is, what the heck is giallo?
Why don't you let me answer that, Eddie? Wow!
Look, folks, it's our resident, foul-mouthed misanthrope, Rollo, the possessed ventriloquist dummy.
Go fuck yourselves! Beep, beep! Hubba, hubba! Lazy bastards.
Okay, Rollo, I'll bite. What is giallo?
Well, numbnuts, giallo is the Italian word for yellow and refers to a specific type of lurid, violent murder mystery paperbacks sold in Italy with yellow covers. This is similar to how the noir genre, noir meaning black in French, received its name from paperback detective novels with black covers.
That's right, Rollo. The gialli we'll be quizzing you on today take their formula from those yellow paperbacks. On film, gialli are ultra-violent murder mysteries involving masked or otherwise unidentified killers, usually wearing black gloves, and usually acting upon grotesque sexual fetishes or aversions. Giallo protagonists are often foreigners, or rather, not Italian. The murder victims are often rich and beautiful, and the plots are full of scandal and sex, usually of the deviant persuasion. Gialli also tend to be full of trippy, eye-popping visuals with lots of bright colors and flashy, shiny knives. But in spite of all their weirdness and their lapses in story logic, gialli typically avoid supernatural elements.
In other words, imagine a noir, a whodunit, a slasher, and an erotic psychological thriller had a baby, and that baby was Italian, and it enjoyed cocaine and LSD a lot. That baby would be a giallo.
I think we get the picture. And now it's high time we met our contestants. First, we've got our returning champions, here to defend the title they won on our previous quiz show, Is It Folk Horror? Give a warm Octoberpod welcome to the ladies of the podcast, spine chillers and serial killers.
Hello, it's Tash from Spine Chillers and Serial Killers. We are a true crime paranormal podcast. We are a trio. You have myself, Tash, Emma, and Becky. We do a bi-weekly podcast on all things creepy and true crime.
In your face. That's what I'll say at the end when we win.
Just know that we are reigning champions.
Yeah.
We are keeping this title.
It's not going. I don't want to let it go. I mean, we should win because last time we were blessed with the knowledge of the all-knowing wise salmon fish or whatever it was. Right. And I'm Emma, and I'm going to be team leader again because it seemed to work for us last time.
Super. Now let's meet our challengers. Better lock your doors because here come the ladies of our true crime podcast.
Well, hello out there. I'm Cam.
And I'm Jen.
And we are with our True Crime Podcast. I would just like to thank Edward October for having us on. And I would also just like to say that this will be one of the easiest wins of my life.
Yes,
Jen?
Spine Chillers. I mean, they're lovely ladies, but come on, their first win was a fluke. We all know this. So nobody just likes to talk about it, but sometimes it's the hard truth, right? Sometimes the truth matters.
Truth does matter. It's important.
They're sweet ladies,
sometimes...
believe us. I just think the world of all three of them. They're all wonderful women. Okay. They know.
Oh, that they bought it, perhaps?
Yeah, we don't want to give them too much of a complex.
Whatever. I'm ready to go. You ready?
Let's go. Camille and I are both, or Cam and I are both leaders, so it's going to be really hard to say which one's the team leader. So you might get an answer from me, you might get an answer from Cam. So
it's true.
It's really hard. We're both leaders. It is
true.
Yeah. So
there you go. But we can identify it. Like Cam here, and we think it's this.
Yeah.
Or Jen here, we think it's this. Or
yes.
whatever.
We'll try to identify, but we're both leaders. There's no way that one of us could be
Never.
subservient. No, we're both leaders.
Nope.
Sorry.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Good luck, ladies. Here's how we'll play the game. I'll quiz each team on how well they know giallo. There will be 2 rounds followed by a sudden death lightning round. Between each round, we'll be sharing some of Octoberpod's greatest tales of creeps, stalkers, and psycho killers. Is everyone ready?
We're ready for this giallo.
All right. Let's play Better Know A Giallo. Round 1. This round will focus on the gialli of Mario Bava and Dario Argento. The first question of round 1 goes to our returning champions, Team Spine Chillers. Here's the question. Mario Bava directed 2 films which are both, arguably, the first true giallo film. One of these films is The Girl Who Knew Too Much. Name the other one. Is it Lisa and the Devil, 1973, Blood and Black Lace, 1964, Hatchet for the Honeymoon, 1970, or Shock, 1977?
Girls, what do you think? Which one is it? I'm going to be perfectly honest, I have no idea.
I'm going to go Hatchet for the Honeymoon.
Do you know what? I was thinking Hatchet for the Honeymoon.
Same here. It jumped out at me. Or at us.
So we're going to go... Well, I think if we're all 3 in agreement, that's our answer.
Yeah, we're
Hatchet for the Honeymoon.
Wrong! Jesus Christ! We've just started and you broads are already stinking up the joint.
You better shut your gob, Rollo.
Yeah, before someone shuts it for you.
Bad luck. The answer we were looking for is Blood and Black Lace. All right, the next question is for Team True Crime. Here we go. Mario Bava, as we've noted earlier, is credited as the filmmaker behind the first giallo film. But this high body count, Bava-directed giallo is often cited as the first slasher film. Is it Twitch of the Death Nerve, 1971, The Red Queen Kills 7 Times, 1972, Kill Baby Kill, 1966, or Short Night of Glass Dolls, 1971?
Let's see. I think since it's going to be one of the first slasher films, it's going to be very early, but not too early. I don't think 1966. I think that is way too early for slasher films.
I agree.
And I don't think it would be obvious for Kills 7 Times. I think that would be too obvious of an answer.
That's my choice. That's what
That's
I
your
would say.
choice?
The Red Queen kills 7 times. So we have 7 murders, and we have a little Red Queen. Could be a little demonic, a little, slashery. I don't know.
But see, I think that's to throw us off. I think that they want us to pick the Red King. I think that's too obvious of an answer. That's what I think. And Short Night of the Glass Dolls, I also think that could be obvious because he knows that I like doll heads.
Oh. Well, I think it would be a scarier movie if it was called Night of the Short Glass Dolls. They're like little miniature dolls attacking people.
that would be scarier, I would think. But I want to think like Twitch of a Death Nerve. That's kind of creepy, but without being like overly creepy.
I don't even know what that is, though. What's a death nerve? I don't know. Death nerve gas?
Know what it is.
Twitch of death by
Twitch of death.
Nerve gas?
Yeah, I think just a twitch of death. Like you've got
nerve.
When you die and your body twitches and convulses. Maybe they call it, who knows? But I think the twitch of death sounds, I don't know.
1971? That's what you're going with?
That's what I think. But you really still want to do Red Queen Kills?
I kind of think it's Red Queen Kills 7 times because right there it's 7 people right away.
But that gives it too much. Okay,
well, we know it's not
that's
Kill Baby Kill.
You pick it.
Because babies don't kill, obviously. So we know it's not that one. Or do they?
but I don't know.
I'm
pick
going
it.
with you. I'm going with you.
No, I think the queen kills 7 times is way too obvious for him to. I think that's the red herring. You know what I mean? I really
It's
do.
the red queen herring?
It is the red queen herring. I really do.
I see what
think
you did
that's.
there.
I think it's the.
All
I
right,
don't know.
Let's go with the twitch. Let's go with the
Okay,
twitch.
twitch of the death nerve is our answer.
Final answer.
Final answer. I do. I think that's it. Because the other ones, kill is too early. Glass dolls. I think that's.
Okay.
He knows I would
I
pick
don't.
dolls, and I think the kill 7 times is too. Too obvious.
I agree with you. I agree
I think
with
it's
you
too
because
obvious. I'm trying
I
to get
agree.
into Edward's head,
I know. No, see, but you know what?
or maybe I'm
If
too
I-
much in my head.
If I picked the answer and was wrong, I would never hear the end of it. So I'm going with twitch of the death nerve too.
That's what I
agree
think
with
it
you.
is.
Yeah. Okay.
I could be wrong.
I don't think you are. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know anything about this genre whatsoever.
And Team True Crime is deadly out of the gate. They earn a point on the win column. Back to our defending champions across the Atlantic. Dario Argento's first 3 films are called the Animals Trilogy because they're all gialli with animals in the titles. I'm going to give you a list of gialli with animal titles, and you're going to tell me, of the films listed, which 3 form Dario Argento's Animals Trilogy. Your answer must include 3 films, and each correct film you name earns you a point. Here are the films. 4 Flies on Grey Velvet, 1971. A Lizard in a Woman's Skin, 1971. The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, 1970. Black Belly of the Tarantula, 1971. The Cat o' Nine Tails, 1971. Don't Torture a Duckling, 1972.
Now, if I'm going to be completely logic, and it could be completely wrong, would you make 2 films in 1 year?
I don't think you would. Maybe 2 in 1 year, but certainly not 3.
How
So we
Because you could do.
are these full-length films?
go on. These are all full-length films, I think. Yeah, we have.
What are the ones from 70?
So they're all in,
How many
they're all
is
in
it?
the 70s. We've got 70, 71, and 72. In 1971, there is 4 Flies on Grey Velvet, A Lizard in a Woman's Skin, Black Belly of the Tarantula, Don't Torture, The Cat o' Nine Tails. I think there's only one of those 4, and then the other 2 will be 1970 and 1972. 1 a year.
I think Black Belly of a Tarantula.
I don't know.
I was going to go
I'm
4
sorry.
Flies.
Can you ring them again? Read them again. I think 4 Flies is one.
So are we agreeing that we're going to go for a film per year?
Oh, I'm happy to go
Yeah,
with
I think
that, yeah.
that's-
So
That's a good
So
idea.
our first answer is going to be Don't Torture a Duckling 1972. Going on that logic, the second one is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage 1970. Me and Becky both want to go for 4 Flies for 1970.
I'm happy to go with that.
4 Flies?
Yeah.
Becky?
Yeah, 4 Flies. I'm just not sure about
Four-
the duckling one, but then again, it's the only one that kind of makes sense for the years, like you say.
Yeah.
Do we get 3 points for this? I think we
We
deserve
get a point
it.
for each right answer.
Oh, well, I think that I'm pretty happy with that.
Okay.
If we get 1 out of
So,
the 3, that'd be great.
Our final answers are 4 Flies on Grey Velvet, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, and Don't Torture a Duckling. Okay.
As Meatloaf would say, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The correct answer is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, The Cat o' Nine Tails, and 4 Flies on Grey Velvet. Let's see 2 points on the board. Back to our challengers, Team True Crime. The protagonists of Dario Argento films tend to be artists and creators. Match these Dario Argento directed giallo films with the creative professions of that film's main character. Your answer must pair each of the 3 films listed with one of the 3 professions listed. You will receive a point for each correct movie profession pairing. The films are Tenebrae, 1982, Deep Red, 1975, and Do You Like Hitchcock, 1996. The creative professions are jazz pianist, film student, and mystery novelist.
There you go.
Back to our challenges. Challengers. Team True Crime. All right. Okay, Camille. Let's see.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm ready for this
so
one.
So first.
I got this one.
Okay. You do? What you go. You lead. What do you have?
I'm gonna talk this through. Just bear with me a little bit, okay?
Tenebra
kind of sounds like antenna or vertebrae or vertebrae. And so that's bone, maybe, or appendage of some sort. So I'm not sure. I'm going to come back to that one. Deep Red. Definitely a book title. Definitely, I think. Definitely. Maybe. Now, I think what is pretty glaringly obvious. Do you like Hitchcock? Well, what is Hitchcock? He is a movie director. And look what one of our professions.
I know, film student.
Student.
I agree with you on that one.
That would be that, which that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's talk it out.
Well, I don't know any of these movies. I've never seen any of these movies. I don't even know if they are really movies, to be quite honest. But once again, I'm in my head where the jazz pianist for Tenebrae.
Did you say penis?
Pianist, I did. I know. See, that goes with your Alfred Hitchcock liking the last syllable. That's where your mind is, in the gutter. Maybe you and Rollo should date. I think you and Rollo would be perfect together.
I think he's too stiff of a character for me.
But you like that.
No. Stiff, but not.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Anyway,
Never mind.
I would go, the last thing would be first, right? Like how things are listed. Like, once again, I'm getting in the brain. I would go the last thing.
So the last goes with the first?
I would go with mystery novelist for Tenebrae, and then I would go to jazz pianist for Deep Red, and then, of course, film student would be the Hitchcock that Camille loves so much. So that's what I say. But
okay,
I picked the last one. You take the second one.
Well, I got to say, because I like that, I just think, symphonies, musical pieces a lot of times have one word. Or
so
not
do
even
novels.
But what the heck is a tenebrae? I don't know what that is. I don't know.
It's probably a foreign word, as I would guess, because we're talking about Italian genre of slasher films. So I would say tenebrae is maybe Italian for something. Like Camille's always wrong, I think, maybe. Yeah, that's what I think. So I don't...
I think tenebrae is more like... The aliens have unleashed on Earth. The Tenebrae has been... I'm thinking that.
Okay, well, you pick. I picked the first one. You picked this one.
Well, I do agree with you with the Hitchcock, for sure, on all
That's definite.
fronts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything I said about the Hitchcock and you is totally correct. Yes.
I was letting you have that one. I would say... I just think Deep Red sounds like a... Deep Red or Red October, Tom Clancy, the Red Badge of Courage.
Red wine.
Red Robin. It's a restaurant. I'm going to go...
Because you're right. Anything with red could only be books.
I'm going to go with what you say.
No.
I'm going to go with... No,
you don't believe it.
Oh, look how mean you are to me on here today. I sweared. I think Tenebrae. Would Tenebrae be a novel? Would that be a book? And then Deep Red would be music?
There's a book called Naked by David Sedaris. That's one word.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking. No, I kind of.
It's your feeling. You go with it. Whatever you feel is you. You pick.
I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with you because you're getting into the mind of the questions.
Edwards,
you're getting in there.
But I don't know. I don't know. I could be too deep in my mind, thinking that I'm trying to outsmart Edward and Rollo, and then. But what I'm doing is like crapping on us. So I don't know. I'm just saying this is how I feel. This is what I think. So if you have stronger opinions and stronger feelings, that's what you should do.
Well, again, I don't know these movies. So
I don't either.
I'm going to go with what you said. So we're going to go Tenebra is
Then why are you here? I should have just done it myself.
Oh, my God. Rollo, I need to talk to you after this about...
She wants to date you, Rollo.
No, that is not it. It's going to be a hit.
She
I got some money.
Deep
Tenebra
and hard affection,
is going
Rollo.
to be... What did we decide? Tenebra is going to be the jazz ensemble piece.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And Deep Red is going to be... No, I changed my mind. No. Tenebra is going to be the mystery novelist, okay? Deep Red is going to be the jazz ensemble piece, something like maybe Chet Baker would do because he was on drugs and he was
pianist.
a jazz musician. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of that. That's what I mean. So that's where I'm going. And then, of course, do you like Hitchcock film student? Of course. Yep. That's way too easy.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Final answer.
Final answer. All right. That's what we got. I really do think that's it. I'm trying to play you, Edward. I'm trying to play you. I think I'm trying to play
the
your
game, not the man.
This is what I did in school, and I was a totally straight C student, so I think we'll be okay.
Mamma mia. You got all 3 correct, earning you 3 points on the scoreboard.
Hey, numbnuts! Where is this board of which you speak?
Quiet, you. And just like that, we're at the end of round 1. While we prepare for the next round, sit back and listen to our first tale of stalkers, creepers, and let's never meet shenanigans. Round 2 will begin at the mid-roll. Keep it right here. Meet Dog Man, based upon the true accounts submitted by Brianna Arndt and Gabriel 136, narrated by Edward October. Hello, Ed. This is Gabriel from Johnson City, the cultural mecca of all that is Northeast Tennessee. I wanted to write in to tell you the 2 most frightening things that ever happened to me. I believe they're somehow related, but perhaps you can judge for yourself. Maybe you can tell me. When I was a kid, maybe 6 years old, I was asleep in the top bunk of the bunk beds I shared with my brother. I woke up, but couldn't move or open my eyes or breathe or scream. I was awake, but there were multiple black things holding me down, keeping my eyes and mouth closed. It felt like forever, but probably only lasted a minute or so. Whatever had hold of me wouldn't let go. I looked below at my brother, sleeping on the bottom bunk, peacefully. I breathed for a second and then jumped down to the floor. As I was running to my parents' room, I heard the voice of the ghost or entity or whatever it was that had me. It whispered, "By God, you better have somebody with you." I slept in Mom and Dad's bed for weeks. One of the most terrifying nights of my childhood. Well, like I said, that was years ago. Now, what happened next? I was 22 at the time. Just got out of college with a bachelor's in theater. I'd gotten myself a job as a performer at Dollywood. There are horror movies of a very different kind to be told about that experience. I was a singer, dancer, jazz, tap, folk, and hip-hop, and actor. I was a triple threat. So I lived in Sevierville, Tennessee with a roommate who also had a Dollywood gig. For anyone not familiar, Dollywood is smack dab in the middle of what some call the redneck Riviera. It's in Pigeon Forge, which is nothing but attractions and country music stuff. Gatlinburg, the next town over, is more attractions, shops, restaurants, and skiing. Sevierville's on the other side, and it's nothing but outlets and fireworks emporiums. Most folks only see the parts of these towns that tourists are meant to see, but if you live there, it's a different experience. You know all the less traveled roads and live your lives in places tourists never go. I hear Venice, Italy is similar, with a hidden city just beneath the surface, but I digress. Whenever I had some time off, I like to go take long walks at this little park. Again, one of these places where tourists never go. It was connected to a church or a school, I never figured out which, and had a playground with a little gravel path going around it in a little circle. It wasn't quite a track, but it meandered through some trees and made for a pleasant walk or jog. One night, I had a nightmare about the ghost I'd seen as a kid. This time, I knew it was a dream because I didn't have the sensation of being held down, and the rest of the dream was kind of obviously unreal. Anyway, I couldn't sleep, so I got up just before dawn and drove out to the park for a walk. It was a crisp morning in the springtime. We'd had some rain the previous day, and everything was misty and wet. I parked my car in a gravel lot on a bank overlooking the park. It was just misty enough that I could only see vague impressions of the brightly colored playground equipment. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there were no other cars parked in the lot. So I get out of the car and started walking down the path. Like I said earlier, the path was more or less the shape of a donut, going around the outside of the playground. About a lap in, I noticed a figure standing a couple yards from where I was parked. Now, I hadn't heard another car pull up, so I just assumed he'd walked over from a cluster of condos adjacent to the wooded edge of the park. Didn't think nothing of it. People are always walking their dogs at odd hours. In fact, there was a dog sniffing around in some brush a couple steps away from him. It was still too misty to make out his features, but I walked on by without speaking to him. Next lap, he's standing just at the edge of the park, and the sun had risen enough to evaporate a lot of the mist. As I came around that time, I could see him more clearly. I'd say he was a dude in his 40s, slim to medium build, olive complexion, and dark hair that was kind of greasy and mussed up like he just rolled out of bed. 5 o'clock shadow, wearing old dirty blue coveralls and steel-toed work boots that looked about a size too big. I figured him to be a mechanic or something. Definitely appeared out of place for this park at this hour. He carried a rust-colored water bottle, like one of those big Nalgene bottles. This was all odd, but I still didn't think too much of it. You throw a rock in Tennessee, you're bound to hit somebody in coveralls. So I passed again without either of us speaking. But as I walked by this time, he fell in behind me. Not close, but moving at what you'd call a deliberate pace. At this point, the rational part of my brain was telling me this was just a guy off for a stroll with his dog. Nothing sinister about it. But a more primitive part of my brain told me to get moving. So I told my rational self I'd do one more lap and head to the car. I told my primitive self that I'd be real quick about it. I guess you'd say I started speed walking. So I stepped onto the wooded bend that marked the midpoint of the lap. I was now about an equal distance from my car in either direction. I saw a shape emerging from one of the trees. It was this guy's dog. The last time I'd seen this dog, it was sniffing around near the parking area. I had no idea how it gotten to this end of the path without me seeing. This dog was a mutt, but pretty big. I'd say he had a little German shepherd and a lot of traveling salesmen in him. It was a strange looking dog. Not just because it was a mixed breed, but because of the meat. You see, at first this dog looked injured. Bloody cuts and wounds, all kinds of bloody gore on him. but the dog was perfectly fine, healthy. It was covered in raw meat. It looked like it had ground beef, ground lamb, and thin, streaky strips of something looking like bacon or prosciutto matted into its coat. And this dog had an odor like a broken refrigerator full of rancid cold cuts. Now, how the does a dog get covered in raw meat? And wouldn't the dog just try to eat it off if he was? Before I could even think about the unsettling way the dog was looking at me, the man in the blue coveralls appeared right at my shoulders and said, "Thirsty?" We were both still walking. I was trying to put distance between me and the dog, but Blue Coveralls was keeping up my pace. He held out his water bottle to me. Now I could see that the water bottle wasn't brown or rust-colored. It was the water itself. I must have made a face because next he goes, "It's okay, see?" and started pouring the liquid from the bottle onto his mouth without actually drinking it. I mean, what the actual Now my primitive brain took over completely, and I started sprinting towards the car, not staying on the path, just cutting straight through the park using the fastest route between point A and point B. The man didn't follow me. At least that's what I thought. Instead, he just shouted the dog's name. It was a single syllable like Shep or Chet or Kip. And then the dog took off after me. I don't know how I did it, but cousin, that dog could move. But I made it to the car before the dog could pounce on me. I locked all the doors and started the engine. When I looked up, the man was standing just about 6 inches away from the driver's side window. The dog was at his side. And he just looked at me and said, "By God, you better have somebody with you." I threw the car in reverse and didn't worry about anybody's toes. As I was backing out, I saw the man stick out his tongue and pour the brown liquid onto it, still not actually drinking it, just letting it trickle down his chin and the front of his dirty coveralls. A girl I worked with at Dollywood, she'd been mugged a couple months earlier, convinced me to file a police report. The officer I spoke to told me that the man in blue coveralls matched the description of a person of interest in a number of missing persons cases. All of them boys aged 16 to 22. This officer told me, unofficially, off the record, that one of the missing boys turned up dead. Theory was he'd been abducted, drugged, raped, and asphyxiated. Bruising about the eyes and mouth. Bite marks were all over the body, as though he'd been chewed on by a dog. This officer told me I was awfully lucky I'd gotten away from this man. What keeps me up at night is the thought that the man in blue coveralls is somehow connected to my childhood ghost encounter. Why did he say, "By God, you better have somebody with you"? The exact words the ghost had whispered. And if I hadn't had a nightmare about the ghost, I wouldn't have been in the park that morning. Was the ghost trying to warn me about this man all those years ago? Or was the man in blue coveralls somehow in league with the entity that had haunted me as a child? Nothing ever came of my police report. As far as I know, the meat dog man is still out there.
Monsters do have their place. In the zoo, in your nightmares, in the deep, in your favorite horror movies, but not on your phone during an ad break. Politically motivated interests are seeking to influence you through the ads placed on this podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Edward October, reminding you that we have very limited control over the ads you hear on Octoberpod. Please remember that only the ads and promos I read with my own voice carry the endorsement of Edward October and Octoberpod. Furthermore, I and the makers of Octoberpod repudiate any entity advertised which seeks to promote hatred, anti-American or anti-democratic sentiments, or the spread of misinformation. Now, with that in mind, Octoberpod will return after
after this brief ad break. And we're back. Time to play round 2 of Better Know A Giallo. Team True Crime is in the lead at the end of the first round. But all of that could change right now as our returning champions, Team Spine Chillers, are at bat for the first question of round 2. Here we go. Former James Bond, George Lazenby, starred in this giallo not long after giving up the role of 007. Name that film. Is it Strip Nude for Your Killer, 1975? What Have You Done to Solange, 1972? Who Saw Her Die, 1972? Or Giallo in Venice, 1979?
Do you need the years for those films?
Yeah, because when did he stop being a Bond person?
Well, when was he a Bond person? I've never heard of him. So we've got,
I think in the
Strip Nude
in the 70s, early 70s, but
we've got Strip Nude for Your Killer, 1975. What Have You Done to Solange, 1972. Who Saw Her Die, 1972. Or Giallo in Venice, 1979. I'm going to take away Giallo in Venice just because I feel like...
Yeah, I don't think it's that one.
It sounds a bit...
It's
yeah, a bit fake. Well...
Yeah.
But then again, who saw her die?
Who Saw Her Die?
But they all have such weird names. Who saw...
I'm torn between Strip Nude for Your Killer because the nudity and it's all a bit sexual, isn't it?
I'll be honest, it's the one that I want.
Yeah. And the other one, Becky, is What Have You Done to Solange?
What have you done to Solange?
I think Strip Nude for Your Killer because also a Bond...
it sounds a bit Bondy, doesn't it?
It sounds a bit Bondy as well, and they did love a little shag.
I do like...
But this isn't
But how
James
did
Bond.
she die?
This is...
I know it's not James Bond, but it would fit nicely for a role that he'd previously played.
Got the
Okay.
ex
Do you know what I
James
mean?
Bond in there. Yeah, I do like the other one. Like, where did she die? Who saw she die? But yeah, I think possibly the other one's a bit more Bondy sounding, isn't it?
Okay, so we're all agreed that it is Strip Nude for Your Killer, 1975.
I went to see Goldfinger on opening day. And oh boy, that Sean Connery, such class, such raw charisma. He was larger than life. And then out comes George Lazenby. He was an Australian underwear model, for Christ's sake. Lazenby sucks. But he doesn't suck half as bad as you.
Oi, Rollo, do you want some? You fuck.
I won't tolerate you mistreating our contestants. I also won't tolerate any George Lazenby slander on my show. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is arguably the best Bond film ever made. You were wrong, though. The correct answer is Who Saw Her Die? And now, let's pop back over to our challengers, Team True Crime. This giallo stars a Bond girl from the Sean Connery era, a Bond girl from the Roger Moore era, and a James Bond ally from the Daniel Craig era. Name that giallo. Is it The Dark is Death's Friend from 1975, Black Belly of the Tarantula, 1971, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, 1971, or The French Sex Murders, 1972.
Okay, what's your feelings on this?
I got this one, Jen, because at least I know these movies, like the Bond movies. Okay, I got this. Maybe.
Well, you know
okay.
the Bond movies,
Uh-huh.
but you
Yeah, I
don't know these movies.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah, all right.
And I couldn't
but
even
the
tell
Bond
you.
movies, you'll know.
The only one I know, a Bond girl for sure, was Halle Berry. And,
then you're going to totally take
Andress.
this round for us.
I know. That's
You'll
what I'm thinking.
totally get it.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's talk this all out. Okay,
right.
so Sean Connery, I think, did the movies in the 60s. Roger Moore was definitely in the 70s, maybe a little bit into the 80s-ish, early 80s. And Daniel Craig was current day. So, that's quite...
So since it's a Bond girl with the Sean Connery area, it's got to be early.
Yeah. That's what I'm
From
thinking.
61, 62. So I would think 75. I don't know. Whoa,
dark-
black belly of the tarantula.
Tarantula.
Oh, black belly of the tarantula.
Tarantula. I don't think it's the French sex murders for sure.
No.
Because I don't think that they would put sex in the title of a movie in 1972.
Well,
I could be wrong.
it could be maybe in French. In France. They might.
That French fries. Is that French?
I would think these are real movies. Maybe not. Maybe Edward's really trying to. I don't know. No
I
idea.
think they have to be real. But then
don't
again, I don't. Yeah. I'm going to say, what vibe you feeling? What
I have
are you
no
thinking?
idea. All I know about the giallo films that I read, that there was like a couple of like the encrusted feathers of the dolphin or something.
Oh.
So
then we should go with the tarantula.
But I don't know. Like I said, I just total C student here. I don't know. I only pick up certain things of what I read.
Get into Edward's head. Get into his head right now.
I
Which
know.
one is
I
it?
don't
Which
know.
one?
I don't know. Dark is a death's friend. This doesn't even make any sense because I couldn't pick out a Bond girl if I tried. I could pick out the Bonds, but I can't pick out Bond girls. So what one of them I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even have a feeling. The only thing I have, the only feeling that I have is the animal thing. That's the only thing I have.
I like that. That's more than I have.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's fuck. I don't know.
Which one don't you think it is?
I don't know. Then I think, okay, well, we're thinking early 70s.
All of them. Minus the dark.
But Dark Death's friend could be it too, and she'd just be like, she wouldn't be that old for the Bond girls. I don't know. I have no idea, Camille.
We gotta pick one.
I don't
You
know.
want to eeny, meeny, miny, moe it? I kind of like the tarantula. It sounds a little mysterious too. The black belly of the tarantula.
I like singing it, but like I said, it was like the crystal, the encrusted crystal hummingbird or something. That's what it was, or something. So that made me pick this, but I don't know. It could be the French sex murders to completely throw us off because we don't think that sex would be in a title from the 72s. I don't know. And who the hell is Mrs. Dward and why do we care?
We don't.
About her strange voices.
Strange vice. Vice, Jen, not
the strange vice. The strange vice.
But we don't care about it.
Ward.
But we don't care about that either.
Yeah.
I like Black Belly of the Tarantula.
Okay.
I like that.
All right. I guess that's what we're going to pick then, because I have no clue. I don't care, to be quite honest. Well, I care, but I don't care which one we pick.
Yeah. Black Belly of the Tarantula. Final answer.
Okay. God, I hope we're right.
A direct hit. Our true crime podcast is starting round 2 with a view to a kill. Yes, The Black Belly of the Tarantula stars Thunderballs Claudine Auger, The Spy Who Loved Me's Barbara Bach, and a young Giancarlo Giannini, who played Renee Mathis in both Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Fun fact, this film also features Barbara Boucher, who appears in the 1967 version of Casino Royale.
There was nothing fun nor factual about 1967's Casino Royale.
Come on. It's impossible to hate a picture with Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, Burt Bacharach, and Dusty Springfield on the soundtrack.
Thank you for proving my point, numbnuts.
Back to our defending champions, spine chillers and serial killers. This question contains an audio clip. Rollo, would you do the honors?
I should be delighted. This giallo features a killer in a ski mask and a sassy whore.
Sex worker.
Who says, honey, if you're queer or impotent, you're paying the price I charge just the same.
Heck, why don't we play them the trailer? With the title redacted, of course.
Now, from Cabo Ponte, the man who brought you Dr. Zhivago, comes a totally new motion picture experience. A journey into the bizarre, terrifying world of the psychosexual mind. It saturates the screen with terror.
I've called you here today for a good reason. What you have here are fragments of...
Is one of these students a psychosexual killer?
Barbarously murdered just 1 week ago.
Or are they just playing erotic games? Not so innocent erotic games. Eager to test the limits of pleasure. A killer is stalking.
Well, that's a real good start. Why do all hang-ups come my way? Honey, even if you're queer or impotent, you're paying the price I charge just the same.
A psychosexual killer is stalking.
Son of a bitch!
What's happened?
That guy was spying on us.
Sean, what in the camp he was? Come back, Sean.
A killer who takes his pleasure differently. A gripping motion picture about a killer's perverted hunger aroused to an animal frenzy.
Name that film. Is it Eyeball, 1975? Pieces, 1982. Raw Meat, 1972. Or Torso, 1973.
I don't know.
What was the question? The name of the film?
Yeah, name that giallo.
I'll probably say raw meat or torso.
Yeah, they're the two that I'm leaning towards as well. Emma?
I was going to go Pieces, and just strictly for the fact that at the beginning it was a professor talking about fragments of a dead body.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad shout.
But that was literally it. So, you guys pick.
Oh, I'm kind of liking torso because that also comes off with the pieces coming off, being chopped
It
up.
does.
Yeah, torso's good for me too.
Okay, so our final answer is Torso, 1973.
Ba, 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 ba.
Risposta corretta. Another point goes to Team Spine Chillers. Excellent work, ladies. How about that trailer, huh? I loved the trailer for Torso so much that I parodied it for one of my earliest Octoberpod promos. Let's have a listen, just for fun.
Hey, this guy's shameless about self-promotion.
Now, from Edward October, comes a completely new kind of retro horror experience. A journey into the bizarre and horrifying world where nightmare and nostalgia coexist. Octoberpod. It saturates your streaming device with terror. Is one of these co-eds the disciple of an elder demon? Or are they just playing occult games? Not so innocent occult games. Eager to test the limits of experience. An elder demon is stalking. Octoberpod. A retro horror show for bold individualists. Available now on YouTube and at octoberpodvhs.com. Shout out to our good friend Nico Vittesi, sound engineer and composer for our True Crime podcast, for composing the original music for that promo. And speaking of our True Crime podcast,
It's time for Jen and Cam of Team True Crime to step up to the plate for the next question. Listen to this cue from Ennio Morricone's score for Four Flies on Grey Velvet.
Now listen up. Here's your question. What is happening in the film while the music you just heard is playing? Is some broad being decapitated by the rear bumper of a truck? Is the black-gloved killer remembering some fucked up shit what happened to him as a kid? Is a sick-in-the-head necktie murderer hacking apart the corpse of his victim while the final girl hides and watches? Or is a sleazy fashion photographer harassing a female coworker with giant magumbos at a health club sauna?
What do you think, Jen?
Okay, let's talk this out. The music is very like Muzaki from the 70s, right? Very Muzaki.
70s for sure.
Definitely 70s. So, do I think it's a woman being decapitated by a rear end bumper of a truck? It could be, but it seems a little bit too graphic for the music. I think the music would be a little bit more poppy. Yeah. Okay. Black glove killer remembering a childhood trauma could possibly be it. I would rank that up higher than the first one.
I would agree with you. And I could only see this like a flashback, like little flashback action going on, and that music playing, and maybe the gloved killer is like a young boy
in the park, why he's and somebody pushed him off the swing or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
Being bullied.
Yeah,
the little boy that was bullied is now the black gloved killer.
Yeah. Your mother sucks.
So let's get rid of the first one.
Okay, the first one's gone.
Second one's in the running.
Yeah.
Necktie murder.
Hacking apart a corpse of his victim while the final girl hides and watches. It could be. I mean, that would be more of like the singing in the rain during Clockwork Orange when they play the rape scene. You know what I mean? It could be, but in my gut, I don't feel that.
I don't really see that, though, because I think... And if he's hacking, they probably want the hacking noise to go.
I would think so for a slasher.
Hear that?
I would think so for a slasher film.
I don't think they play the music there.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, but I think the first one's.
I think the second one over that one.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think
we
agreeing?
Necktie,
I know. Think we're agreeing.
I think the necktie murder is maybe second before the decapitation.
If
I'm rating them, right?
Yeah, I don't see that woman being decapitated with that music. No way. I'd be so mad if I was that person.
Oh, yeah. Sleazy fashion photographer harassing a well-endowed female coworker at a health club, which kind of reminds me of Christopher Wilder, by the way, the serial killer that would photograph take the models. We covered them in our Nightmare Before Christmas, remember?
I do, of our True Crime podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was number 8 2 years ago.
I got to be honest. I kind of feel in this one because, like, you got the very violent for the first one, black gloved killer. He's a killer, so he's violent. And then the next one's a murderer, chopping up somebody, very violent. This one's not violent. It's just creepy.
It's creepy, yeah.
And like the music, it's sing-songy a little bit. I mean, it's a little uneasy, but it's not. It's not like the Jaws theme or Halloween or anything, you know?
Yeah, you know I'm drawn to that one more than any of them. That's what I would pick.
And I got to be honest, it kind of reminded me of a De Palma music, something that he would feature in one of his films.
Now you would know that better than me. I don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then...
but would he have picked it for something like this, or would he have picked it for something?
Yeah, because he did that, a Blowout with John Travolta, and and that's that.
But
weird.
He wouldn't. But he would have put it with something that's uncomfortable, like a sleazy photographer harassing a woman.
But
and over he would put it over somebody being decapitated or somebody being killed, correct?
Well, I think so, because so then hearing the music and you
which
see
is creepy. The music's creepy.
Which is a little creepy. That would let the audience. So you were getting in Edward's head. Now I'm getting into the movie head.
Okay.
That would let the audience
just like
know that the audience. I just keep opening these doors and you walk
do.
right in.
You are falling in, just like Rollo wants to do. All right.
I can't with you. The sleazy fashion photographer. So it's going to alert the audience that he's creepy and something's going to happen. A little foreshadowing, maybe, because I can see him like hunched down behind a bicycle, the stationary bikes, and he's pointing his little camera through there and shooting her. So we know that like maybe he's stalking her now and he's going to get her later. That's what I'm thinking. I think that one makes the most sense.
I think so too. I don't know because I don't even know if these are true movies.
Well, again, it is a sleazy fashion photographer, not slasher fashion photographer.
Right.
So I'm pretty confident in this one.
You think it's that
out
one?
Of the ones
okay.
we've had.
All right, I'll go with you because I believe I think that out of all the other ones, this one makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
So
the music.
We'll go with that. So sleazy fashion photographer for the win. That's what we pick.
That's what we pick.
Yeah.
This is hopeless. Somebody just kill me now.
We'll be more than happy to help out with that, Rollo.
No problem.
We know people.
Well, just sign us up, except I'm sure there's a lot of people in front of us already.
Well, I, for one, wouldn't miss him.
Damn straight.
But he is right. You gave the wrong answer. The music underscores a scene in which a woman is being decapitated by the rear bumper of a truck, filmed lovingly in slow motion and in vivid, vivid color. Now that is cinema. And so we've come to Team Spine Chiller's last question of round 2. Ladies, this German film genre of mystery, horror, detective thrillers, inspired by the atmospheric crime and mystery novels of Edgar Wallace, are sometimes cited as a cousin of or a precursor to the giallo film. What is the name of this genre? Is it poliziotteschi, Filmkunst, Krimi, or Das Kino Mabuse?
They're all hilarious.
Das Kino Mabuse.
That doesn't sound German.
What was the first one again? Oh, that was the impronounceable one. I like Filmkunst to be fair.
Is it German? Das Kino Mabuse?
Das is German, but I don't know about the rest.
Creamy?
I don't think creamy. I think creamy we can take off. Unless that's
so you like Becky. So right, Becky likes Filmkunst, and Tasha likes Das Kino Mabuse. So I guess I'm the decider.
Yeah. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, let's do it.
And it could all depend on this one.
Mo.
Put a baby on its toe.
Tiger by its toe. If it roars, let it go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Das Kino Mabuse.
Whoop. Thank you.
And that was actually a very scientific deduction.
Oh my frickin' God! No! How could you be so wrong?
Now, Rollo. It was an easy mistake to make. The correct answer, of course, is the Krimi genre. All right, Team True Crime. Here is your final question for round 2. This crime exploitation movie genre, also popular in Italy, is very similar to giallo. So similar, in fact, that films like What Have They Done to Your Daughters, from 1974, could arguably be classified as an example of both giallo and this genre. Telefoni bianchi, poliziotteschi, roman policier, or questore.
All right. So, what you're thinking on this? Because I have
see.
why I think it is.
Oh, you do. Okay, let me think here real quick. Okay, so it's Italian, and it looks like all those words are Italian. So
Very
that's
good. Yeah. So
thanks.
Check mark that.
I don't know who Bianchi is, and I don't know why you want to call him using e telefoni. So I'm going to say no on that one. Mm-hmm. That other one with that long word, Couldn't tell you. Roman policia.
Which could be.
Questor is either a protein bar that tastes terrible, or it is a word game that's popular among the teenagers. Hey, let's go play Questor. So I do not think it's that one. So I think it's one of the two middle ones. Okay, let me hear your thoughts.
Well, my first thought is immediately it's the one where Edward has it pronounced for us, because I think he wants us to say it correctly. So that's my first guess. That, like, right off the bat, that's what I think.
Okay.
But the second thing I think is it's a crime exploitation. So I would think it might be the Roman policier, because it's police. But if we're going to go with that, the polizi, whatever, that's also Italian for police.
Polizio-teschi.
So polizio-teschi. That's what I would pick, because it does have police in it, and Edward has it out here so that we could say it correctly. But that's just going with
I like that. I like that you're playing Edward and not the game. I like that. You got to get in there. Also, just a little something out there. With movie genres, are they usually one word or two?
I don't know.
See what I'm saying?
Well, this is two. Crime/exploitation.
But I'm saying, but a genre. So like horror.
Questori.
I guess a rom-com.
That's two. This is in Italian. So this could be like an entire English paragraph, and it could just be summed up in one word in Italian.
No, that's what I'm saying, because typically I think genres are one word, but Roman policiar is two. So I'm thinking that's what my hunch would be, that it usually with the genre.
Roman would be Rome police, I think.
I know. Yeah, but
the police
that's
in
two
Rome.
Words. So do you really go?
It could be a subgenre.
My favorite movie genre is horror, comedy, and the Roman police. That doesn't sound right.
To us, it doesn't, but it might to them. Because this is all Italian. You're putting too much of an American slash on it.
Nothing more than I like than a good Roman policier movie. Blockbuster.
I'm just going to piss off a bunch of Italians, but go ahead.
I'm just saying, I just, in my heart, I think it's one word.
Okay.
I think. But
okay.
I don't. A police.
Okay. So,
Questore. That would be, that polizi. That could be police, and I don't know what Cioteschi is. Cioteschi. Maybe Edward and Rollo, that little wooden thing, is trying to trick us, and maybe Polizioteschi means Roman policier.
It could.
There you go.
I have no
idea. It could, right?
I don't know.
What that means, though, then
it could also be an amazing pasta that we need to try when we're in Italy.
I love it with a little tossed with a little fresh parm, little
mushrooms,
grape tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I don't know, Jen.
I don't. I'm just. That's what I think. Just because he's written it here with.
I can agree with you.
Spell it out.
I agree with you.
But it also could be the Roman policier, because it's got something to do with crime. So I'm going to assume it's something to do with police, like, because crime shows deal with police, right? Crime shows here in the United States are crime. It's always police
in general.
In general.
I think Polizioteschi.
Yeah. Me too. Final answer, Polizioteschi. Or however, Polizioteschi.
That is correct. Another point on the board for Team True Crime. And that should do it for round 2. Time for another tale of stalkers, creepers, and psychos. When we return, it'll be time for the dreaded lightning round. Don't change that dial.
A few years ago, I was doing a solo through hike of the AT. I started at a trailhead in Georgia, but only got as far as Damascus, thanks to an ankle injury. That's a story for another time. It was September, and I was on my way to a shelter on a secluded section of the trail between northern North Carolina and southwest Virginia. I'm not going to say which shelter it was, because I don't think anybody should go back there. I was hiking faster and more recklessly than I normally would, because I was trying to get to the shelter before some severe weather moved in. Several times on my way to the shelter, I noticed a figure standing up on a ridge. A man. He was always positioned so that he was backlit by the sun, and I couldn't make out his features or what he was wearing. He was just a dark figure, looking down on me from the top of a rise. Figured he was a day hiker or another thru hiker, or maybe even a nature photographer. In retrospect, I had noticed he wasn't wearing a backpack or carrying any gear, which would have been a red flag if I wasn't in such a damned hurry. The closer I got to the shelter, the more trash I noticed along the trail. Dirty, discarded plastic bottles, strips of fabric caught on trees and sticker bushes, scraps of notepaper even, stuff like that. Normally, I would try to pick up any litter I saw, but again, I was in a hurry. I got to the shelter and saw it was so run down that I'd rather take my chances weathering the storm in my tent than risk disturbing an animal nest inside the shelter. I set up my tent in a location where the shelter would shield me from the wind when the storm arrived. I also rigged up a tarp over the tent to act as sort of a rainfly. I left my pack and my boots just outside the tent. Remember, the tarp was there to keep the rain off, and cozied up in my sleeping bag. Dinner that night was a Cliff Bar. Because I'd planned on dozing off listening to the rain and thunder, I'd left my phone and headphones in my pack. Other hikers rag on me for packing big, heavy, can-style headphones instead of light, compact earbuds. I'm a light sleeper, especially in the woods, and they're really good at canceling out background noise. In the morning, I went in my bag and got out my phone to listen to some Rage Against the Machine to help me wake up. When I put on my headphones, though, I felt something tickling my ear. I thought I'd just gotten my hair stuck in my headphones, and then I felt it again. I took off my headphones, and the biggest fucking spider I'd ever seen in my life crawled out. Thankfully, it scurried out of the tent and didn't hide in any of my stuff. I packed up quick and started to hightail it out of there. As I was leaving, I saw a piece of notebook paper, similar to the kinds I'd seen littering the trail, nailed to the outside of the wooden shelter. I would have noticed it the day before. It had to have been nailed up overnight. It was a note. It said, "Next time, it will be a black widow, bitch. This was your only warning." Had the man I'd seen on the trail been stalking me? Had he planted that spider in my headphones? I got out of there in a hurry. I filed a report with the U.S. Forest Service and with the police, but nothing ever came of it.
Octoberpod will return after this brief intermission. While you wait, leave us a comment and let us know your thoughts on the story you just heard. And while you are there, give this podcast a 5-star rating. It will appease the unquiet spirits who, even now, are staring over your shoulder. It's time for our lightning round. So we're going to bring out the team leaders and ask each of them to tell us which of the 13 films we name is a giallo and which isn't, by answering either giallo or no giallo. Each correct answer earns a point. The team with the most points at the end of the lightning round wins.
We're gonna list 13 films, all produced outside of Italy. Some, according to our expert, meet the criteria to be called giallo films, despite being of a non-Italian persuasion. And who is our expert? Why, it's the Right Honorable Numbnuts himself, Mr. Edward R. October, Esquire.
All right, let's bring out Emma, leader for Team Spine Chillers.
Ooh, lightning round.
Now remember, we'll name a film and you will answer with giallo or no giallo. Ready? Let's begin. Play Misty for me, 1971.
No giallo.
Frenzy, 1972.
Giallo.
Don't Look Now, 1974.
Giallo.
Alice, Sweet Alice, 1976.
No Giallo.
Tourist Trap, 1979.
Giallo.
Cruising, 1980.
No Giallo.
Dress to Kill, 1980.
Giallo.
Sleepaway Camp, 1983.
Giallo.
Body Double, 1984.
Body Double. No Giallo.
Psycho 3 from 1986.
Psycho 3 Giallo.
Amer from 2009.
No Giallo.
The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, 2006.
That's definitely a Giallo. No.
And Knife Plus Heart, 2018.
Giallo.
A valiant effort.
Yeah, okay.
Now let's see how well your competitors fare. Your challengers on Team True Crime have been sealed in a soundproof booth and have been unable to hear your answers. And since Jen and Cam both have control issues, they have both designated themselves the leader. We'll just roll with it. All right, Team True Crime, time to bring the lightning. Now, just a reminder, we'll name a film and you will answer with Giallo or no Giallo. Let's begin. Play Misty for Me, 1971.
Giallo.
Okay. I agree.
Frenzy, 1972.
It's Hitchcock, we agreed, right?
Giallo.
Giallo. Okay.
Don't Look Now, 1974.
It's Supernatural based. Donald Sutherland.
I must say no Giallo.
No Giallo? Okay. I go with this. I don't know any of these, so.
Alice, Sweet Alice, 1976.
I'd go with Giallo on this one.
We don't know.
Maybe it's just to throw us off.
So what are you going with?
I'd say Giallo.
Okay, I'm going to say Giallo too.
Okay.
Tourist Trap, 1979.
Never heard of it.
I don't know. Let's go with Giallo. Why the hell not?
Cruisin', 1980.
Cruisin'.
I'm going to say definitely Giallo.
Okay.
Dressed to Kill, 1980.
Definitely
Giallo.
Giallo.
Yeah.
Sleepaway Camp, 1983.
Definitely Giallo.
Giallo.
Body Double, 1984.
Giallo.
Psycho 3, 1986.
Never seen it. Don't watch sequels very often.
Didn't even really know there was one. I know
didn't
Anthony
either.
Perkins came back, and maybe that's it. I can't remember. But so let's base this on the original Psycho, and if we would say the original Psycho was
Giallo. I would think so. Don't you?
I would think
Psychological and slasher, kind of?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Giallo.
Amer, 2009.
Never heard of it. No Giallo? No, thank you, Giallo. No, thank you, Giallo. Okay.
The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, 2006.
Unless it's a red herring, I'd say no Giallo.
Well, definitely. I've never seen any of these, and I know there's like 143. But the last time I checked, I think it had something to do with cars. So I'm going to say
driving
no,
fast
Giallo.
and being furious that you're not fast enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say no
the
Giallo.
faster and the furiouser slasher, definitely Giallo. But this one, I'm going to say no Giallo.
Right. I agree.
Knife Plus Heart, 2018.
Shot to the heart, and you're to blame.
Baby.
You give love a bad name. Which it could be taken literally, where there is a knife in the heart, or it could be taken like you broke my heart because you broke up with me.
No, I'm going to say death. I'm going to say death.
You're going to say death?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to say Giallo.
Okay, we'll go with Giallo. Those are our final answers.
And that concludes the final round of Better Know A Giallo. We'll be back shortly to announce our winners and for Rollo to tell them what they've won. Until we return, enjoy more tales of creepers, stalkers, and let's never meet shenanigans.
I'm a 30-year-old female. Every year, my town hosts a 5K. We have a lot of scenic wooded trails on the outskirts of town. So rather than shutting down any roads, they have us run on the trails. Because the woods out there can be pretty dense, they always mark the course for the 5K with a blaze or a sign or colorful balloons or some kind of marker so that runners don't get lost. I usually stay with the pack. This one year I'm going to tell you about, I tripped early on and had a slight issue with my ankle. Nothing serious though, but that was enough to get me separated from the other runners. And I must have missed one of the markers because I ended up on a section of the trail where there was nobody around. Well, almost nobody. This section of trail took me way out into what looked like some farmland with empty fields or pastures or whatever on either side of the trail. It was a nice change of scenery at first. I just kept on going under the assumption that this leg of the run would eventually meet up with one of the trails I was more familiar with. I'd already blown my chances of finishing with the rest of the pack, so I didn't worry about my time. I was actually enjoying the sunshine and the wide open spaces, until I saw a dot off in the distance standing behind a tree. It was a person dressed head to foot in dark camo with a trucker hat pulled down low to hood his eyes. I think he thought he was hiding behind that tree, but he wasn't well hidden at all, even though he didn't move or make a sound when I passed about 100 yards in front of him. I got creeped out and picked up the pace. I saw a patch of trees up ahead. I felt safer among the trees, less visible anyway, and made my way to them as fast as I could, because I had hoped that was where this section of trail met up with the other trails. I was wrong, though. It looked similar to the trails I was familiar with, not like farmland, but I was still pretty lost. I pressed on, looking over my shoulder every few strides to make sure the guy in the field didn't follow me. He didn't. I figured that I'd already run at least 3 miles with no sign of the finish line in sight. I rounded a turn past this fat oak tree and saw a man standing on the trail. Not the same man I saw earlier. At least, I don't think so. That guy was so far away he couldn't possibly have made it this far on foot without matching my fast pace or teleporting. This guy looked older, heavier, bearded, and was standing 25 or 30 yards ahead of me, blocking my path. He startled me so much that I came to a complete stop when I saw him. He looked at me with these dead eyes and said, "Gee, your boyfriend must be a lucky guy." When I didn't respond, he kind of sniffed the air and said, "I can smell your milk." What the fuck? For the record, I don't have kids, and I've never even been pregnant. And I was so scared. There was not another soul around. But to my left, I saw that there was a ridge or embankment, and way up at the top of it, I could see something bright pink fluttering in the breeze. It was a marker for the turkey trot. So I turned and dashed up on that embankment, shredding my legs on some thorn bushes, and climbed up to where I saw a little pink flag stapled to a tree. It happened to be a section of trail that I was familiar with, and even though I didn't see any runners, I thought I could hear some just ahead of me around the bend. Before I ran to catch up to them, I looked back down to the bottom of the ridge where I was. The creepy guy had vanished and, as far as I could tell, hadn't bothered to chase up after me. Now whenever I go trail running, I take a little canister of bear spray with me, just in case I have more close encounters. Welcome back to Better Know A Giallo. During our last segment, our judges were tallying up the scores, and we're happy to announce that this morning's winner is Team True Crime.
Oh my God, I'm not surprised, but yeah, that is so awesome. Yay!
I think I'm going to cry.
Oh.
I mean, you know?
I'd like to thank the Spine Chillers. They're such wonderful women. I mean,
they tried. They really tried. And
they
isn't
tried
that what it's
so
about?
hard.
And I mean,
it was
really
so cute how hard they tried.
It's just important to be included. I mean, it doesn't matter who wins or loses.
No.
And, you know,
No,
I mean,
they're so cute.
It's
It was
just
so cute. Thank you so much.
I think it was so nice of Edward to pair us together because it just, I don't know, women uplifting women, you know?
I'm so excited that we won. Thank you so much. That is so awesome.
Thank you. Maybe next time though, you know. Maybe
if they
next
tried
time
just
they'll
a little bit harder, I think they could have won.
Yeah,
but
you
it's just
know.
obvious who's the better players.
Well, clearly their Italian is not as good as ours. Maybe that messed them up a little bit.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
they're
the
only
next
over
game-
there. Maybe they're so close to Italy that it just kind of blocked everything out. But since we have that space of being so far away from Italy,
Yeah.
that
And
it's
just
not
you know,
in our face all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like it is in theirs.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, congratulations to us.
Yes,
a win well deserved.
well deserved. Yes.
Unfair.
Shit.
Unfair.
I mean, to be fair,
Rigged.
I blame.
Who even knows what gelato is?
Gelato is that's an ice cream.
Gelato.
It's an ice cream.
That's the only G I want to know. Gelato.
Gelato is a delicious,
I think
creamy, icy
that was
treat.
too difficult. I blame the demon puppet, personally.
Yeah.
Rollo.
Rollo?
I would not share you even if you were my last one.
Nope.
All right, Rollo. Tell them what they've won.
Well, numbnuts, you see, if you watch as much giallo as me and you notice that a lot of them have one thing in common. You'll almost always see a bottle of J&B Scotch whiskey somewhere in the background. Or maybe somebody's pouring a few fingers of that sweet golden liquor for one of the characters to enjoy. And that's your prize, a bottle of J&B Scotch whiskey on us. So you can party like the future victim of a black-gloved killer.
Wonderful. But where is it?
Well, what happened was I went to the back to get the bottle, and the show was starting to bore the fucking shit out of me. So when I found the bottle, I thought I'd have a little nightcap to just power me through your dumb fucking stories. And, well, the next thing I know, the bottle's empty. But it's a beautiful bottle. I'm sure it'd look great displayed on a bookcase or a mantle. I think I'm gonna puke.
Yeah. Thanks. This is amazing. This bottle, we will display it forever. Thanks. This is something.
I'm not displaying
It
that thing.
smells disgusting.
Somebody drank what was in it. What? I don't. Is the cameras on? Is this a joke?
Why is he throwing up? Rollo, that's gross.
Oh.
Damn it, Rollo. Damn it. Edward, why do you hang out with him?
Let's go ahead and give this. We love the present, truly, but let's go give it to Team
It's a
Spine
prize.
Chillers.
It's not a present. It's a prize.
Well, we're going to make it a present and give it to Team Spine Chillers because it is not a prize. It
Rollo,
is
get away from me.
definitely
Quit. You're puking. Get away.
present. God, Andy stinks. Jeez, why does Edward let him do this?
Worse than normal. I don't know. I don't know why Edward hangs around him. He's just disgusting. Maybe Edward did something really bad in a past life and he's now stuck with Rollo.
So.
I don't know. Poor Edward, but still.
I mean, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome. Thanks.
Awesome.
We'll
It's
treasure
great.
it forever. We're going to fight
Or
over
until
who
we get
gets
back to
keep
the
it.
hotel room.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Either way.
Thanks.
And that was Better Know A Giallo. A big thank you to our contestants, Team Spine Chillers. Where can our listeners find you?
Becky, you can go.
Oh, can I? Well, we are on all of the social media, all of those. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, formerly known as, and is now X, under SCSK Podcast.
Underscore podcast. Jesus Christ, woman.
It's not me that does this part. SCSK_podcast. Or on Facebook under Spine Chillers and Serial Killers. And then you can also listen to us on everywhere. Just anywhere.
We're just everywhere.
Like we are everywhere.
Like
anywhere you look, we're there.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of us. Less itchy though, I feel.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Thanks again, ladies. And where can our listeners find you, Team True Crime?
Well, our true crime. Go ahead. This is why we can't have leaders, Edward.
I know. We both think we're leaders.
Stumble over each other. Our True Crime Podcast is a weekly true crime podcast that drops every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can tell the good people where to find us.
And you can find us anywhere that you get your podcasts. And you can also email us at, nope, I don't want to say that. You can find us on Twitter at Our True Crime Pod. The same for Instagram. And you can also, if you want to get in touch with us and tell us how great we did on the show, you can email us at ourtruecrimepodcast@gmail.com.
We're also available for hire to play any game shows out there, especially the ones we win.
Before we leave, I'd like to give a big shout out to Tom O'Connor.
Who the fuck is that asshole?
For lending his vocal talents to this episode. Octoberpod will be back in 2 weeks with more retro horror. Until then, stay spooky, mes amis. Stick around after the credits for a brief word from some of our fellow indie podcasters, creators, and friends. There may even be some bloopers and outtakes as well. You have been listening to Octoberpod. Octoberpod is produced, edited, and directed by Edward October. The series co-producer is MJ McAdams. Logo and banner graphics by Jessica Good. Edward October illustrations based upon an original character design by Nick Calavera. Select still photography courtesy of Unsplash.com. Select music cues by Dr. Dreamchip, various stock music and sound effects courtesy of freesound.org. Music cues from Bigfoot Apocalypse and Thorax, theme from Octoberpod, composed by Nico Vitesi. All other images and music FX cues, except where noted, are sourced from within the public domain. Watch Octoberpod home video on YouTube for new videos each month. Follow us on Instagram and on the dumpster fire formerly known as Twitter at OctoberpodVHS and on TikTok and Blue Sky at Octoberpod. Or find all of our links on the World Wide Web at OctoberpodVHS.com. For business inquiries or story submissions, email octoberpod@gmail.com. If you enjoyed Octoberpod, we'd be very pleased if you told your friends about us. And comment with a 5-star or equivalent rating wherever you're listening. The man who spoke to you was Mr. Edward October.
Hello, Twisted Humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. In 1952, there was a record high of UFOs reported. 1,500 sightings. There has been evidence of human sacrifice, devil worship, and it is haunted by more spirits than can be counted. A family of 2 adults and 2 kids reportedly saw a giant flying thing with glowing red eyes. And meanwhile, the family's nanny that helped Veronica to care for her and Lucian's children was found bludgeoned to death in the basement of their family home. I'm Alicia. And I'm Sierra. And this is Twisted and Uncorked.
Bienvenidos a la cripta.
Hola, amor.
Hola, cariño.
Y bienvenidos a Uy, qué horror, a Latinx horror movie podcast with Johnny
and Eileen. En este espeluznante podcast, we explore the often overlooked world of Latinx horror films. Cada semana, we watch and discuss horror films from different countries in Latin America,
or with a Latinx director,
or starring a Latinx lead.
Si es de horror y Latinx, we're watching it.
Nuevos episodios every Monday.
Listen to Uy, qué horror on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber. And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
And we're bringing you all things occult.
Every Tuesday and Thursday, twice a week for your magical pleasure.
Join us as we dive into aliens,
cryptids, the Illuminati.
Super in the natural.
Because that's the kind of witches we are. So join these high energy witches twice a week. Come sit a spell and see why we'll be your favorites.
This is Rollo. This is Tom O'Connor. Here we go. I know you gave instructions for takes 1, 2, and 3 for each line. There might be a couple extras as I go along.
Rollo is this like demonic puppet, and he's hilarious. He's one of like my favourite things on Octoberpod at the minute. He's very funny and he swears like a trooper. I love Rollo. And
Risposta corretta. Another point goes to Team Spine Chillers. Excellent work. I just have to say, I waved my hands in the air like a stereotypical, like an Italian stereotype when I said riposta corretta. I'm doing it again. Every time I say it, I do it again. Oh. I'm just gonna, if I pronounce it correct, you know it's because I did the hands.
Do we want to do this one more time? I don't know. Or do we want to do this a little bit nicer?
Probably a little bit nicer. They are really nice ladies.
I know. I'm just teasing them. So that's why I thought, yeah. So let's do another take of this. Okay. The other ones we can do more takes.
Okay.